Okay, it's 6:30. Templeton Board of Appeals will continue a public hearing to consider a special permit to expand a non-conforming use under section 5.2.2 of the Templeton zoning bylaws for DNA Holdings Incorporated, Jim Davis, at 881 Patriots Road. Jim, you're in attendance. And we left off last week's meeting. We figured we needed an updated site plan, updated location of the buildings, number of buildings, and so forth. What did you come up with?
So what I submitted to the board was a revised plan showing one considerably smaller building, and then a real small building, a little 60 by 20. So one of the concerns, I think, for the board, the biggest one was, number of units, I don't know, more than doubling or tripling the space. So we got it down to 46 units. I know the board had mentioned that they wanted to see no more than 50. We moved the side, my mistake was I thought the rear setback could be construed as a sideline setback. So anyway, that grew to 30, which shrunk the buildings. And then in the front, we added some defined landscaping and pushed the building away from the road by, I think it's an additional 10. So the building got smaller. And then the middle section, we pushed those two buildings together to make one long one. And then I think that got us to like 40 units. And then we just did 6 more in that little 60 by 20. And there were some things that the board wanted to see, which are space between the buildings, the rear setback, the front setback, privacy fencing in front of the existing storage buildings, which is just going to match the other fence that runs down the side, if you guys are okay with that. And then some landscaping in the front. And then I want to fence off, to basically divide the storage units from the existing garage and apartment. So there'll be a fence going from that existing landscaping straight back to that little 60 by 20 building, just to keep people from cutting through, just for a lot of reasons, but it definitely defines the space. And then I'm trying to think what else there was. Oh, the board wanted me to state the number of units that are existing and the units that are proposed. So I got to confess, in our last meeting, I had said, I think there were 63 units. It turns out there were 58 units there. And so I stated that in the plan, and now we have 46 units proposed. And what else did we do?
Is the pole barn coming down, Steve? The pole barn?
Jim, me? Yes.
Yeah, Jim, I'm sorry.
Yeah, pole barn's coming down.
Okay, I thought in the plans it looked like it was coming down.
Yeah, I think they left it there as a reference just to show where
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's on the plan. That's what it states. 40 by 40, existing 40 by 40 barn to be removed.
Yep.
And any questions from the board?
You're still gonna take all, Jim, you're gonna take all those trailers and everything out too, right? As you said, the trailers in the construction trailer in the back.
Yes, those are gone.
And you're gonna just put, like you said, you're gonna need a plow truck, obviously. So yeah, you wanted a couple of vehicles left so you could, for maintenance.
Yeah, if we could just reserve 2, just allow for 2 vehicles around back. And that might just be one and a plow next to it. I'm not really sure how it'll play out, but it'd be nice to have the capacity for 2. On that note, I don't know how the wording is going to be in the order of conditions, but so the existing garage and apartment, there's an apartment there, there's an office there, which is defunct, and then there's a garage, which is just used as storage, which is indoor storage. But I guess my concern is that if that tenant, so there's a woman that lives there with her boyfriend, so that's 2 cars. And then if their kid gets a car, I mean, how does that affect the outdoor parking classification? 2 cars, like 2 cars on the whole parcel, or is there
I
a way?
think that's fine. That's that people are living there. That's different.
Okay, great. That's
Yeah,
what-
they'll be able to park there, no problem. I mean, that has nothing to do with the storage area.
Yeah, I believe the same thing.
Beautiful.
They
Thank you.
have their own driveway, correct?
That's one of the reasons for the fence, where it says proposed fence, basically from that planting back to the 60 by 20 foot storage building. It will define their area, and I'm sure they'll line up cars there, because that's that set of stairs going up. It's a 2nd floor apartment, so they're going to want to park right there.
Right.
And then behind it will be grass, so they can have a backyard. I mean, but I clearly understand that there'll be no trailers, campers, or whatever parked back there, for income. So that hopefully will, delineate between the apartment and my 2 plow trucks and, campers and stuff. I get that.
Okay.
Jim, I got a question on the buildings. The ones that are existing there now, how tall are they?
I think they're 10, maybe 12 in the middle.
Total 10? Yeah.
I think the doors, I'm not sure exactly. I think the doors are 8 foot.
Yeah, how about the new ones? They'll be the same height?
My goal is to have the same, but I don't know.
I mean, roughly, I mean, they're not gonna be 2 stories or,
No, I put in height not to be more than 15 feet just for cushion.
okay, yeah. Okay.
It states right there, but I'm not, no, you can't, I'm not doing 2 stories. I want to do something to mimic the existing as close as is reasonable.
Oh, okay, I see it. I missed that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, 8.5 by 11 is a little small. And my dog's a little loud, sorry.
So that's 15 feet, no more than 15-foot height?
Yes, yeah, the buildings won't be more than 15 feet high.
Jim, I notice on other places, other storage facilities like this, they have a gate out front. And the gate, I guess you have to have a key or a pass card or whatever it is to allow them to come and go. That way nobody that shouldn't be there isn't there. Is that an upgrade we'd be looking to have you put in now? It doesn't have one now, correct?
Does not have one now.
So basically, there's no control who comes and goes.
There's no control who comes and goes. No, there is not.
Mr. Chair, when you're ready, I have 2 statements from the YouTube page.
Okay.
Who are
The
they?
first, it's Mass Vocals.
Is there a name and an address, or just the MASS vocals or MATT vocals?
It's MASS space VOCALS.
Is that an email address, or is that the guy's name?
That's just the name of it's not a name, no. It's
Is it Steve Drury?
it's Mass Vocals on the screen, sorry.
You don't know his name or his address.
No, not at the moment, not the address anyway. But as provided for in Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 6, a non-conforming single or 2-family dwelling or structure accessory thereto may be altered, reconstructed, extended, or otherwise structurally changed, provided that, 1, the proposed alteration, extension, structural change itself conforms to the requirements of the present bylaw and does not intensify any existing nonconformities. These are statements on his part. At this time.
Okay. We're holding this hearing under the Templeton zoning bylaw, section 5.2.2. That's to do with expanding a non-conforming use or structure. So I'm not sure what the 40A section 6, I believe that has to do with, that's the state law. That's the minimum requirements. But we hold our hearing, we're holding our hearing based on the Templeton zoning bylaw. That's the rules and regulations that we are here to through the Templeton Board of Appeals. Hopefully that helps. Any board member up to date on the 40A section 6?
No. No, I'm not.
I believe I've read some of it, but I wouldn't want to be quoted on any of it, to be honest with you. I believe the section 6 was about, I'm trying to find it here. I know I printed it out. Hold on a second. I know I've read a lot about it, and depending on what you're reading, what section you're reading, a lot of the general laws point to one thing, but under Templeton zoning laws, which can be amended by town meeting vote, a lot of times it doesn't coincide with what the general laws are, which I don't believe are what we have to follow. There are some points in it that point to the neighborhood, and if the neighborhood would be adversely affected, which we've covered a lot of this. One thing would be how much traffic's coming and going, what the looks are gonna be, how much more is added to a non-conforming use. A non-conforming use, any extension or additions of use or size, obviously it has to affect the neighborhood somehow. Now, if the neighborhood was affected less, I think the neighborhood would be more happy unless they were serving ice cream. Things like that, you know, if you're selling cars and you expand a lot to go from 100 cars to 200 cars, you're obviously gotta be affecting the neighborhood a little bit. We've heard quite a bit from neighbors about not wanting it. I know I've heard a lot, and it just adds to the mix when you start looking at different laws, which we've always gone by our town bylaw in our own zoning that our town has adopted, amended, and changed along the way, which for better or for worse, we had a chance to vote on that area to not have commercial, period. I mean, it's been brought up for a vote, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago, tops. That whole section, they wanted to change it over to commercial. Town voted no. So does that town vote supersede him being grandfathered and wanting to expand? I don't know. It's almost a good question for an attorney to hash over.
Yeah, I believe the town voted the first time in 2010 for zoning in that area to make it a residential, an R2 zone.
Yep.
And these laws are in effect. He's got the protection of the bylaw for that existing zone. They chose not to change the zoning recently, last couple of years, but that doesn't affect the grandfathering rights. The grandfathering rights remain as they were in 2010.
Correct.
I have a comment from an abutter,
There a name?
Carrie Griffiths. I really hope the board honors the essence of the town and neighborhood and puts its residents and environment over profit. And then it's followed up by Mass Vocals. The zoning bylaw of Templeton conforms to state laws. 2, this project will come to alteration or extension will not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure or use. There will be more traffic and more strangers. And that's what I have so far.
Yeah, more detrimental. That was the words I was looking for earlier.
And I think that's where we were the other day. One of the other hearings we mentioned, we were talking about the traffic and how many stops a day do you have currently with the existing mini storage there now, Jim?
I mean, I never see more than one person there. But I don't hang out there all day. You know, I'll go there, I'll cut the lawn, I'll pick up trash. You know, I'll meet with my tenant, I'll do some maintenance. I'm probably there for a block of 3 or 4 hours, once or twice a month. You know, I would imagine towards the end of the month, you might get 3 or 4 people, and not all at once. You know, you might get a guy from 8 to 10 and then somebody in the evening. But there really is not much traffic there.
So that's that 3 to 4 and 3 to 4 hours you're mentioning. So that's like one trip an hour,
Whole day.
3 or 4 in a whole day.
That would be towards the end of the month. That wouldn't be every day, 3 to 4 people.
And
Yep.
if,
I'm sorry.
and you proposed increasing it's in size, it would be about 62% increase. If you take into effect the barn that's in place now.
I haven't punched the numbers at percentage wise, but yeah, I mean, I would imagine if I trust your numbers on that.
Yeah, I did some quick math here, and that's what I was coming up with. So, you know, the traffic there, I feel pretty mitmal, 3 to 4 trips a day. And so if you increase that 62%, it'd be 5 a day.
Once again, only towards the end of the month, not every day. If you get 5 people coming out of there every single day, I'd be very surprised.
That seems to be pretty minimal impact. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
I feel that he's done what we asked him to do. We told him to shrink it up and do 50 units. He shrunk it up and did 48. Is that right, Jim?
46.
46?
Yeah, and pushed an additional 10 feet off the road in the front. Added some plantings, bigger plantings.
He seems very easy to get along with. Whatever we've asked him to do, he's doing it. So I'm for this.
You asking for too much to put a gate there with a entry to keep others out if they're not supposed to be there? And does a gate tell you who comes and goes? Do they each have like their own passcode, or is it just all like a key thing?
So the bare minimum gate is about 35 grand installed.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can't afford to do that right now. So you build these things, you shell out a lot of dough. It's going to take, I don't know, a year or two for the market to absorb these units.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're breaking even after a while, and then I could probably afford to do a gate later. But, and as far as coming and going, I think that's some kind of a software package you have to buy.
Right.
I don't know. The street that I own has a gate, but everyone has their own code, and there's no way to go back and track who was there.
Okay.
And that's the next level. You do cameras, you do, well, like the smart gate, you do all sorts of remote stuff.
Right. I'm just curious.
With enough money, I'd imagine anything can be done.
Oh, sure. Well, a lot of it would be, like for your protection too, as to what's coming and going and who's putting what where. If something was to happen right after somebody left, who left.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know what they cost. It just see them at almost every place there are that I've seen. They have the gate system, some way of locking it at night, keeping, if somebody's in there, or you could just not let anybody in there after 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. I'm sure they have parameters they can set, and they don't want you. I don't know if you let people in there 24/7 or if you have a time limit for the people that rent.
No, this location is 24/7.
Yeah.
Since there's a pause, I have another question from Mass Vocals. He'd like to know how many of the board members have been schooled in zoning bylaws by the state.
For myself, I work for the town of Templeton. We have before us town of Templeton bylaws, and that's what we're using. That's for me.
Yeah, I took a course probably 20 years ago when I joined the board. They held some courses at the Mount, and that explained a lot of the bylaws. And like Ron says, since then we've been particularly dealing with the Templeton zoning bylaw.
Thank you.
We're just volunteers. We're just volunteers on a board. And when none of us are attorneys, none of us are judges, none of us are zoning experts. A small town and just volunteers. We're doing the best that we can.
Well, as far as myself, I haven't been offered any schooling or anything, but like a couple of the others have stated, we do substantial reading on a subject if it comes up. I think this one's kind of one of the different ones, if you want to call it that, as far as digging into the paperwork and see what's what. I'd gladly take the course if it's offered, if the town came up with something. But as far as I know, there's been nothing offered since I've been on it. I do know this much. I feel we put the process to the test as far as letting people come opine any way they want. I can vouch for everybody here. We listen to everybody and everything they say, and make up our minds accordingly. We don't just go into this with the blinders on, doing what we want to do. That's not what we do. I've seen it, I know it, and I think the process works myself. And I think it's a fair system, the way it's going down right now. We listen. If we get a lot of feedback from the neighbors that don't want it, we ask why. And if we want to get the party that's asking for a variance to change and do something a little different, then we do it. We look out for Templeton. We look out for the rights of the landowner and Templeton and the people around it. I think it's very fair what we do.
Yeah, the whole purpose for the ZBA is that no zoning is perfect in any given town. It's impossible to have a perfect zoned town. You have grandfathered uses, you have many exceptions, and that's why the state statute makes the town have a zoning board of appeals to hold appeals. The state sets the minimum standards that the town bylaws need to have. And that's because there's no such thing as a perfectly zoned town. Nothing is 100% perfect, ever. It never will be, never can be.
I'd have to agree with what pretty much everyone here has said. I mean, I sat on the planning board back in the 80s. I was involved with zoning development in the 80s. You know, I haven't had state training, but, you know, I think with what Dave and Ron and John have said, a lot of this has got to do with common sense too. And I think everyone on this board has some common sense, and we're here for the benefit of the town.
All right, do we have any other questions from the board members?
I'm good, John.
I'm good.
I'm all set.
All set.
All right. Jim, do you have anything to add for the public hearing?
I'd like to know Mass Vocal's name and address if Lori can ask him if possible, just for my own curiosity. And then I'd like to say, as an applicant, I think you guys have been, you know, pretty tough. I think you guys have asked some pretty pertinent questions, and your follow-up on those questions has been pretty thorough. So I don't know if you guys need any more schooling. I mean, I just would like to see you approve my project, obviously, but you know, it's been a pretty fair process as far as as you know, being a guy on the other side of the table. So thank you, guys. I didn't realize you guys were all volunteers. That's huge. So, you know, I think this is going to be a great project. I mean, if I was clear cutting forest, and if I was going for another curb cut and doing a lot of heavy development stuff, I could see some resistance, but I mean, it's basically it's a cleared spot of asphalt grindings just sitting there doing nothing. And I think driving by, the finished product will be much nicer for that stretch of road. I just asked the board to please grant me permission to do this.
Okay, and you don't have any problem if the board votes to grant this, you'll be adhering to all federal, state, local permits necessary to get this built.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You understand that, yeah. Okay, if we have no other comments for the public hearing, the board members don't need any more information. We can have a discussion on closing the public hearing.
John,
Yes, Laurie?
the last comments I have from Mass Vocals are how the district zoning does not include units for storage which are commercial. It is residentially zoned, not commercial. And Terry Griffiths writes, I think the fear is that this sets a precedent, and this neighborhood is one of many where zoning has been mishandled in the past. There is so much to be fixed in this neck of the woods, it's alarming.
Yeah, you know, this public hearing is, we're dealing with the questions at hand for enlarging the mini storage. It's removing the existing barn and limiting the amount of outdoor storage, or eliminating the outdoor storage allowed on the property. I think this is a step in cleaning up the problems of the area. We can only address things that are in front of the board, and that's what this board is doing with this project right now. Do we have any other comments?
I'm
Before
good,
we-
John.
Do we have a discussion on closing the public hearing? Ron's good.
All set.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we close the hearing.
All right.
I'll second it.
All those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. 7:01. Public hearing has been closed. The board will consider this. Do we have members want to continue the meeting tonight, or?
No,
I'm
I
ready to
think we
make
can
my
vote.
decision.
We can go.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Need a break, or is everybody good?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good.
All
I
set.
stay on?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry.
still a public meeting. It's just, there's no public input anymore.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I'm good. I don't need a break. I'm good.
All right. So we got some information. What's everybody think of the new plan?
I think it's gonna look good, especially when he tears down the pole barn and puts up the other building. I think it's gonna make it aesthetically look nice with the plantings, and it's in a great place because it's not really like there's a ton of houses right there, and the business has been there. It's not like, it'd be a different ballgame if he was just gonna build it right now. But, it's existing, it's been there, and I don't see that 46 more units would really hurt anything, especially when he's knocking down the pole barn.
Yeah, that wouldn't be allowed under zoning. If it was a new existing operation.
Right, absolutely.
that-
But I mean, it's there, and it's in right next to the highway, tucked next to the highway there. And I've gone by it, and as well as you and the board members, there's really nobody. I don't think I've ever seen anybody there. Maybe once, maybe twice through the years, but I mean, and like Jim was saying, when you see them, it's usually at the end of the month when they're either moving in or into a unit or when they're moving out. I don't think a lot of people get down there in between and use the units. You know what I'm saying, John? As
Yeah,
far
oh, yeah.
as they don't go every day to pull stuff out and do stuff like that. I think it's just more of a storage, put it in, and then when they find their place or whatever, they take it out. And I don't think it's gonna impact the traffic because, the road's busy. Well, it's not super busy, but it is a busy road to begin with. And I just don't think there'll be a problem putting those in myself.
Here, I feel everybody needs a place to put their stuff. Not everybody has a garage or a shed or an area to put their things. I know people are put their lawn furniture, lawnmowers, the lawn rakes in there in the winter. Then come summer, they take them out, then they put their snow shovels, their snow blowers and things they don't use in there. Everybody needs a place to put their stuff in. I think this is well needed for the town.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed is, we've had a lot of opposition from residents in the area, but none of them are direct abutters. They're over on Drury Lane. The abutter on the side, we haven't heard anything out of them. They're the ones that, more directly impacted. I know we've been hearing a lot of problems with another person in the area, and I just wonder, if that really is what brought up a lot of the opposition to this. The direct abutter, we never heard a peep out of them.
Well, I gotta admit, John, and the rest of the board, I missed several of the meetings because of another job commitment that I had, but I did try to get caught up on what Lori had sent me on this. And that was a question I guess I was gonna ask the board, because I looked through the abutters list and I didn't see any complaints from the abutters.
Yeah.
And that's, in previous cases, we always ask for, what's going on, how do the abutters feel about it? I didn't really see anything negative from any of the immediate abutters. And I think, most of us, grew up in this town and, driving by there for a long time, I think this would be a better appearing use of the land than what's there now. And I have to agree with Ron. I think that, everybody needs, a little extra space to put some stuff. And I don't see it as a big traffic hazard going in and out of that place. I probably, as Jim says, I don't think there'd be a lot of extra traffic, with a 46 more units. So, yeah, that's how I kind of feel about it.
Yeah, I guess, the criteria we need to look at as a board is if the proposed expansion is going to be more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing.
I agree, yeah.
That's the law. That's the decision this board has been given the task to do. I feel that, an extra trip or two a week, or even a trip or two a day, which I think will not happen with expanding it, the proposed expansion. The street definitely can handle it. I think, I don't think it'll be more detrimental than what's existing. I think there's some positives with eliminating the outdoor storage that currently exists, in which the neighbors that have been voicing their concerns, that was one of their concerns. I think that's big. We can fix some things by issuing this, and the outdoor storage is one of them. Personally, I think, as others have mentioned, and that the pole barn coming down, it'll make it a better appearing site. So yeah, the fencing, the landscaping, I think overall it's going to be a better site with granting the special permit than we have without. I think it's going to be better than what we have there now. Do we have any proposed conditions to, if this gets granted, we'd approve it, proposing to approve it with some conditions? I think I've jotted down a few. In outdoor storage is one, eliminating the outdoor storage. We've been talking about it. Everybody's in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see the gate, but I don't want to bankrupt them. I think it'd be a financial hardship to even ask for it at this point.
Appreciate that. They are very expensive.
Yeah,
In the
well, if they are, if they aren't, I'd like to see it. That's all. I don't know what they cost. I'm taking your word for it. You say 35 grand. I don't know what they cost. If I would think you'd want one myself, because then you can have a lot less liability as to what somebody might do if you know who did it and they aren't allowed in there after 9 p.m. I was surprised when you said you can go in and out of there 24/7, and 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody can be going in and out of one of their units. That just sounds bizarre to me. I don't know.
I gotta be honest with you, in Gardner, I have about 100 units, 90, I think. 2 buildings, gated, outdoor parking. When I come out, I pick up more trash in Gardner, and I have issues in Gardner that I don't have in Templeton.
Yeah.
No gate in Templeton, you know, it just, it's interesting. It just, you know, yeah, the gate would keep the honest thieves out, but let's face it, if you want to get in there, you're going to get in there.
True.
I might have missed this, but do you have that monitored with a camera or anything?
No. It's just a gate where everyone has their own keypad. They punch it in, the gate opens, they drive in, gate closes behind them. Then to get out, there's automatic, what do you call them? Loops, these magnetic loops in the ground. So they sense your car, the gate opens up again.
Okay, so they all have their own identification basically, so you kind of know who's going in and going out then, basically.
Well, I mean, yeah, so everyone gets a passcode. So there's 96 passcodes in this little box.
Right.
People wait at the gate, once again, when I've been on the lawn, and they wait for someone to pull in, they pull in right behind them. Then I follow them around and they leave. Just my point is that with the gate, I have more trouble in Gardner than I do in Templeton. Maybe it's the location, maybe Templeton clientele is nicer, a little more Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. It's not a kiss ass thing. It's just an observation.
Yeah.
You know, I got 2 in Templeton and 1 in Gardner, you know, and I pick up a lot of trash in Gardner. That's all.
And so another condition, or we want to talk about the gate more as a board?
I don't see a problem.
I don't either. I think it'd be easier for the police to go and check it and, you know, get in and out. And they'll probably go in more times during the day if they don't have to use the pass key to get in and out to, you know, when they're doing their rounds. I think it'd be a lot easier for the police department.
Okay, and now the fence and landscaping on the plan, everybody feel that adequate?
Yeah, he's gonna continue with the fencing all the way down. I think it'll look good. And he's gonna put some bigger shrubs in. It's gonna make it have a lot more curb appeal. There's no doubt about that.
Jim, the fencing that you're gonna put up, is it gonna have like that blinder plastic pieces in it so you can't see through it?
Yeah, exactly. To mimic the one that runs down the side. So it's a chain link fence with these green slats or black slats. You don't want to be able to see in it. You don't want to be able to, you know, broadcast what's in there, but you also don't want it so high that you don't know what's going on in there. It's nice to be able to drive by and say, okay, there's somebody, you know, loading their unit. Not, you just want to be able to get a little bit of visibility. And that, I think a 6-foot high fence does that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Lori?
Did you want to include something about maintenance vehicles?
Yes. Yeah, in that condition, with no outdoor storage. Yeah, would make the exception of two vehicles owned by the owner.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
What up? Anybody else got a thought on that?
Were those gonna be registered vehicles?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so if you have a plow truck left there, you'll keep that on the road. So if we put the restriction that registered to the owner.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And make the exception of the exemption for the tenant.
Yeah, not so much the garage, because that's just storage, but the tenant, the apartment above. And then the former owner had an office for renting these places out, and it was manned. I don't think I'll ever do that again. But if I ever have to get into the office, not renting the office, but having an office for the self-storage, if there's an employee, could they have a car there?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, that's just my concerns. Yeah, but as far as, I don't know how you'd word it. I guess you guys got it nailed down, but just I understand it to be, no outdoor parking that generates income like campers, trailers, I don't know, other guys'
Yeah.
trucks.
Boats and stuff like
And my
that.
truck's more than two. I have no problem with that. If I need more than 2 plow trucks to plow this place, I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, yeah. So condition fence and landscaping as on the revised plan of April 7th, 2021. And maybe a height restriction on the buildings, proposed buildings, no higher than 15 feet. Is that on the plan?
That's
Yeah.
on there. Yeah,
It's already on there?
Yeah, I see it way on the right side.
on the right-hand side below the compass rose, or below the north thing.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Square footages, heights.
yeah. My printer cut it off, actually. So we can put that as a condition as well. Anything else the board would like to see as a condition?
I think he had spoke of putting another light in there if it would help illuminate better. I think he said he had 1 or 2 now. Would you think, Jim, that you would need another light in there, or?
So I have the poles that I leased from Templeton Light.
Yeah.
Which work out pretty well. I don't know if I'd want to do another pole, but I don't know if Templeton Light would affix one to a building. Maybe the corner of the 60 by 20 facing towards the highway, and maybe one up front. I mean, whatever it is, I'm going to illuminate it. I also have the option of, they make these really cool LEDs that mount to the building, and they're dusk to dawn, but they only come on with motion,
Mhm.
which are great.
Be nice.
So maybe we do those instead. Maybe one at the 60 by 20, but maybe 3 down the 200, or maybe 4 down the 200. I mean, I was gonna just defer to my electrician and say, what do we need here?
That's
Because,
actually, I believe that's a code, isn't it? A building code is exterior lighting.
Yeah, I know it is in the residential world where I live, definitely. I do kitchens and baths and small additions. Then you gotta have, egress lighting and switching, and it's pretty specific. So I'd imagine for here, it would be also. And I would do it just for safety. First of all, just as a courtesy to my tenants, and I'm sure it's an insurance thing. You can't rent a totally dark building, and plus it just invites trouble if it's not lit. So one way or another, it will be lit. I mean, I can't commit right now whether I would do the telephone poles, because I don't know if Templeton Light would do, put a pole in for one light. But there'd be something on the buildings, that's for sure. And they would come on dusk to dawn, triggered by motion. So they're not on all the time, but as soon as you walk up to them, they come on.
Okay,
And I guess because I don't know how much each one throws as far as, a circle of light and how many I'd need, but I guarantee you it'll be sufficiently lit. If you guys could, I don't know, take my word for it, or just, maybe use the term sufficiently lit. I don't know. But it's going to be lit.
So just I guess a quick question. The building that's coming down is going to be proper disposal of the demoed building and any vehicles that are currently on the property that are junk or whatever. Those will all be disposed of properly.
Yeah, so the 3 trailers, we have to call the people who own them and ask them to move them. It might take a couple of months because those look like they're in tough shape, but and the 2 pickup trucks are actually mine. So yeah, those will be gone. And the pole barn, I would imagine we'll just get a dumpster and break it up and put it in the dumpster. It's got a metal roof, metal corrugated roof, and just literally, I think 15 or 20 poles, telephone poles.
Yep.
With 2-inch thick siding. But yeah, that will be disposed of. I mean, I'll get a demolition permit if I have to from the town.
yeah, and that, we kind of a blanket, we could put a blanket condition that all necessary permits under federal, state, and local bylaws be adhered to. That would, I think, that would cover the lighting, that would cover the demolition permit, and even a site plan review on this. I'm not sure if it's covered or not. That'll be a call of the building inspector. Any other conditions from the board?
I'm good, John.
Okay,
I'm good, John.
are
All
we
set.
ready?
I have one question for the board. Do
ahead,
any
David.
of us feel this is more detrimental to the area? And if so, what is detrimental about it?
I personally feel that it's a touch more detrimental on more traffic, more is always, if you have 5 people going there a week or a day, and if 7 go there now, that's 2 more. So that is a little more detrimental in my eyes. If we could cut it in half and only have 2 people there a day, that would be better. However, that's the only thing I can see that's detrimental. Aesthetically, I think the proposal is better than what's on the site currently. The doing away with the outdoor storage of the trailers and what have you. I think granting this permit would lessen the detriment to the neighborhood. So as a total package, I believe this is less detrimental to the neighborhood than what's currently going on there, what's grandfathered there. That's one man's opinion. Anybody else add to that or contradict to that?
I think you hit it perfect. Like you say, it's really gonna impact the traffic or anything. I think it's gonna look good when it's all said and done. It's gonna make that neighborhood or that piece look a lot better.
I agree as well.
I think I kind of said it earlier, to me, it's cleaning up an eyesore almost. And I really don't think it's gonna add that much more traffic to the area. And if that's the concern, I just don't think that's a major concern for me. And I know it's not in my backyard, one of those, but I just don't think, I think it's aesthetically gonna be a better looking facility.
The reason I asked the question was because I've been on the fence. And not having it be more detrimental is the key to this one. And I agree with you all, that it will take away the town's liability of him lining up 50 junk cars and 50 junk trailers and doing anything he wants right now. By letting him do this, we take all that away and we control it in better form and have some ability where we have none now to control what goes on there. I'm sure Jim, when he puts more money into the place, he's not gonna want any of the riffraff or the trailers or all the other stuff that we've been talking about, and we'll make it better for the neighborhood. I completely agree that the amount of traffic, although we're not there to see it, we're a snapshot when we drive by. I mean, if you had a cam recorder watching it and you saw 50 cars coming and going a day, I'm sure the neighborhood would be here complaining about it, but I don't believe they are. Like you said, none of the abutters have come. So, you know, I was on the fence, but I think I'm ready to vote yes for it too. Whether or not it'll pass the appeal and somebody comes within the amount of time and rejects what we do, then so be it. But that's their prerogative. I think it's a good move myself. So, you know, I like nothing more than you, John, to have everything unanimous. When we vote, we bang our heads together as much as we can, come up with the same conclusion.
Yeah, most of the time we are, yep.
Yeah. That's a good point, Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, are we ready to move the question?
I am.
Move the question.
We're looking for a motion to grant a special permit to DNA Holding Incorporated, James Davis, for a substantial extension of use to his storage business on 881 Patriots Road, as shown on plan prepared for DNA Holdings dated February 25th, 2021, revised April 7th, 2021 by Para Land Surveying, with conditions. Are we good with the conditions? What do we have for conditions? Did you list those, Laura? Laurie?
Yes. So no outdoor storage, including no more than 2 maintenance vehicles owned by the property property owner, must be registered. Tenant and employee parking separate. Fencing and landscaping per 4/7 plan. Height restriction of 15 feet for buildings per plan. I had written down sufficient lighting and proper disposal of demo, but that's all part of the building permit. Do you want that to stay off as part of the building permit?
Yeah, how's the board feel on that?
Well, they're gonna have to do all the lighting when they go to see the building inspector. So I don't think that really has anything to do with us. I think that's out of our warehouse. I think that's up to the building inspector now and for lighting and for whatever else he needs. But I don't think that has really anything to do with us.
Then that was all I had.
Okay, and I think a condition that he receives all necessary permits under federal, state, local laws.
Okay.
We want to add that. All right. Can we get a motion to vote on that? Is the board ready?
I'm ready. I'll make a motion that we vote on this project for DNA Holding.
Second.
All right, discussion? None? All right, we'll have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, I guess we're unanimous. Want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and getting through this. I think the board did a pretty good job tonight. Hopefully this one's put to bed. Lori, are you all set with us?
Yes, if you're done, you just need a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
So
I'll
moved.
make a motion to adjourn.
all those in favor?
I'll second that.
Aye.
I'm in favor of adjourning.
I'm in favor as well.
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
All right, boy, we're unanimous tonight. That's amazing.
Okay, good luck, Jim.
Hey,